Joining us now as we continue to remember LaVell Edwards and celebrate the iconic coach's life is Lee Johnson. Thunderfoot.
Thunder.
18-year NFL veteran, 1984 national champion, and the 1980s version of Johnny Linehan.
Yeah.
Right?
How about Linehan? That guy's crazy. No, I would never tweet. That guy's a tweeter. Don't get me on a tweet. That would not be good.
It's great to have you in studio.
Thank you.
Lee,
Appreciate
as,
it,
we look
Thanks
back
so much.
at LaVell Edwards. What does that man mean to you?
Well, he means so much to me. You know, I walked on to BYU back in 1980, and it's funny, they played A&M in Houston in '79, and he had heard that there was this kicker down in Woodlands, Texas, which was Houston, essentially, and Gary Zauner was a special teams guru who was on the staff at the time, and LaVell said, look, go up, there's this kid up in the Woodlands, go up and check him out. And I had this terrible game. I mean, I had a strong leg, Thunder, you know, that was kind of my thing. But I had a terrible game, and Gary Zauner reports to LaVell the next day and he says, nah, this kid's no good. And it was interesting to see how things came about because I had begged to walk on at BYU through Floyd Taylor, who had recently passed years ago, who was a business manager. And so LaVell didn't know much about me other than I was this kid from Texas who pleaded with someone to come watch me and fail miserably as a high school senior. So, you know, he didn't know much about me other than there's other, you know, we can maybe get another story about how he learned more about me. But he meant so much to me. And as years went on, as a player, you know, I was kind of reserved. I didn't, I'm a kind of a crazy guy outside of the locker room, but I'm not a natural guy as a football player. It's really weird. I don't really want the ball at the end of the game type of guy. So I was really kind of nervous around.
Or should you, right? You're the
yeah.
player?
No, well, yeah. Well, as a field goal kicker, though, I didn't really want to.
Yeah.
I didn't want to go out and win a game. Like some of these guys that are great, they want it. And I was always frustrated. How come? Why would you want that? It's too crazy. It's scary. I don't know. Don't. So around the game of football, I was always very quiet and reserved. And you know, I didn't get to know LaVell as much as a player as when I was in the league for years, and especially the last 2 years being a part of BYU in the athletic department. And that has just opened my eyes to what an amazing man he was. Just wonderful. Just wonderful.
He has affected a lot of people in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And I mean, like, BYU athletics is what it is because of LaVell in an amazing way, right? Now you're in this athletic department. So how have you seen the effect of LaVell Edwards in BYU sports today?
What has amazed me about LaVell is how you can be so great, so effective, and play such an impact in the lives of kids and be a normal guy. So much of football is what I didn't like as a kid, and the yelling, the screaming, the intimidation, and all the things about football that, and I always said to myself, if I was a coach, how can I do it and be a good guy? LaVell did it as a good guy. And there's other great guys. Kalani's a great guy, and there's great guys. Bronco's a great guy, but, you know, he intimidated. He did things that it wouldn't connect with me as a player. I wouldn't relate to it. LaVell just did things right as a professional, as a great guy, as a small-town guy, and he just impacted the lives because he knew, and this is what I think was so great about LaVell, is he knew you cared about him. He knew that I knew he cared about me as a person. And all the interviews you talk about bringing people in and annually and the lemon drops and the buttons and the shoe shine and the paper. And you didn't think, but he was very perceptive, and he was deceivingly perceptive of the person and what you were about and what kind of guy you were. And I didn't. I was kind of, he knew me, and I didn't think he did. So very interesting.
Lee Johnson with us on BYU Sports Nation, reminiscing about LaVell Edwards. What was your favorite part about the interactions you did have with the coach?
Well, the one story that I really love is I walked on, and it was a miracle that I was even accepted to BYU because I didn't even take the required test to come to BYU. But
How did you get here, man?
I don't know how I got here. It was a miracle. I was denied, and then the next day I received a letter where I was accepted.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, I was on my way to go someplace in Texas somewhere, whatever, Southeast Texas State or whatever it was. But I was accepted, so I walked on to BYU. And the story, LaVell tells a story because he told it the day before he passed in his bed in his room. I had an opportunity with Chad and Robbie to go to his house. And the story essentially was, here's this kid in August, and I'm in my office. And he had this office with a big window, and he could see out to the practice field. And he says, I saw this ball going through the air like a jugs machine. You know what a jugs machine is? Yeah. It explodes through the jug, and it goes a mile. And he thought this jugs machine was going on with the return men. And he walks out, and he sees it's me. And, I was drilling some balls. I was crushing them. And it was great to see, one, how he tells a story about how this kid from Texas, who he said to our special teams coach, nah, he'll never make it. He'll never be any good here. And as the story goes, after that first year, the SMU, I kicked the onside kicks, Gary Zahner, our special teams guru, was going down to San Diego State with Doug Scoville. He was going to take me and give me a scholarship down to San Diego State. LaVell caught wind of that. And that's when, that's where I've always had fun with LaVell, telling him, LaVell, I had you, buddy. I forced your hand on this one. But, it's always good to know you got the upper hand. You can force a hand.
Yes.
So he calls me in his office like he does, and he catches wind that I'm leaving, and he offered me a scholarship right before I went back for the Christmas holidays to come back for the winter semester, because I was gone. I was leaving.
That's after your freshman season.
Yeah.
80.
Yeah, that's a Merry Christmas, right?
That was a Merry Christmas. Yeah, it was great. It was great. It was the way he went about doing it, and it was kind of fun to tease him a little bit, especially now to tease him. Just about that story. That's my favorite story with LaVell, with myself.
You said that you were there, it sounds like, the last Wednesday before Thursday
Yeah.
when LaVell Edwards
Beautiful.
passed.
Yeah.
What was that like?
It was incredible. Bryce Santiago, in our ward, is a bishop, in our office, he's his bishop, and he'd come in and said, LaVell's not doing well. 2 weeks prior, I'm going to Robbie. I said, Robbie, we got to go see LaVell. I just had this feeling we needed to go see LaVell because we hadn't seen him around. He would come around. And Robbie's like, yeah, we need to go see him. And things just got crazy, and we didn't do it. So Bri, anyway, this Wednesday morning comes in, and I'm with Chad in my office. And he comes in and says, hey, it's not looking great. And Chad and I just said, we're going, not really knowing if it would be okay. And we go up there, knock on the door, and Patty is so sweet to let us in. And we walk in his bedroom that he had lived in and for 50 years, I don't know how long he lived there. And he's in his hospice bed, and he's sitting up, and Robbie's there. Robbie Bosco was there with Karen, his wife, and his boy was there. And, of course, Robbie's very close to LaVell because they coach. But we sat with LaVell, me, Chad, and Robbie, and we just sat there, and he was in and out. We would tell a story. He would chuckle and chew on his tongue and do his little, things that he does. And then he would kind of go out a little bit, and then he'd kind of come back, and, he's fully aware that we were there. But the opportunity to express our love and appreciation for LaVell during that 15-minute period, I felt so lucky that I was able to do that. I mean, three guys, former teammates, and I didn't feel worthy to be the guy to be there the day before he passed. It was like, wow, how did I get so lucky to be with a legend and talk with him and just tell stories and share stories and have him laugh a little bit? And it was really cool, you guys. It was really a special moment for me and Chad and Robbie.
Oh, absolutely.
Fantastic stuff from Lee Johnson here in Studio B. What kind of reception and atmosphere do you anticipate tonight as the team gathers to remember their coach?
It's going to be amazing. We will never have a reunion in the history of college athletics, BYU athletics, than we will tonight, I think. We're going to have people, players, former players, coaches. Andy Reid's coming in. They got the bye week, with the playoffs. I think it's going to be kind of like we're doing right now, just telling stories. We've already got Glenn Kozlowski. He came into Robbie's office right before I came here.
Oh, boy.
Instantly, we're telling stories, and it's just a total riot. Yeah. It's a beautiful day. It's sad because we lose a legend in LaVell. It's beautiful in that we're going to have so many former players come back, guys who probably have never really returned. After they move on and do their thing and get busy with life, and they're going to come back. I don't know how many we're going to have. We could have 1,000. I don't know how many former players. I know we RSVP'd almost 500, which is pretty amazing.
Wow, that's a lot.
So it's going to be an amazing night tonight. After post the funeral, we'll have the reunion, and then it's going to be a great time.
I've been struck by the fact that we've known for the past 16, 17 years that the stadium is named LaVell Edwards Stadium, but I think it's taken on a new meaning since he's passed. There's something we can look at, visit, see, touch, feel, and kind of remember. I feel like the naming of the stadium has more meaning now than it ever has. I don't know if you feel
no, I think it always does. Anytime someone passes on and you can see the legacy he left and the legend of LaVell, and it's in the LaVell Edwards Stadium. It's funny. I was watching some clips when they did it with President Hinckley at the time, and just his emotion and his wife's emotions. And I would wonder, did you kind of know about it? I talked to his daughter, and they kind of knew, but they didn't know for sure, and it'd be hard to keep that a secret. But, I loved how they had the lights on, by the way, in the stadium. That was so powerful to me.
It was.
And I think you're right. Every time you go there, you'll think about LaVell. he touched a lot of lives. Fans loved him, and I think because, again, he was a normal guy doing normal things and just amazing. It was just weird to think that you could be so small town, normal, and care, and not. He never really got mad. He didn't intimidate. He didn't belittle. He didn't try to tear you down, which is so common with coaches. It's kind of, maybe they feel they need to do it to motivate. LaVell he had a great system. LaVell could come in at 9 and leave at 5 and not have to worry because he had a system. And Bronco, these other coaches they're all night. It's crazy. It's game prep. Wait a minute. When you know what you're going to do, why? Why do you got to go past 5? When you have a system like he had, you didn't, because you just did the same thing. Figure out a way to beat me. If they do something different, then at the line of scrimmage, Robbie or Steve or whoever, we'll just tweak it a little bit. He had a great system, and it was very unique the way he was able to do things.
Yeah, on a personal level, he makes me just want to be a better man.
Yeah.
In every way.
Yeah.
Pretty incredible.
It is.
Lee, thanks so much for the time, man.
Thank you.
Thanks,
That's awesome.
It's always good to have Thunderfoot in studio.
Thunder lives.
Absolutely. Hopefully, LaVell didn't get mad at you for breaking the scoreboard at Wyoming in 1984.
I popped it. Brand new. First game. I thumped it, and I loved every minute of it.
Lee, thank you.
Thanks.
A pleasure, my friend.
Thanks so much.